Blacklist Hunter here, and today I want to talk about the Chrollo vs Hisoka fight and why it's probably the best fight out there in the shonen manga universe. A marvelous fight in which two top tier flawlessly written characters went at it using all their strength, ability and impeccable planning. This fight was destined to happen. Hisoka only joined the Phantom Troop to fight the leader, and although he missed the chance in York New City, he took the trouble to help exercise Chrollo's den for the sole purpose so he could have a duel with him. Hisoka is an enigmatic, unique and wonderful character who lives only to battle and fight, to test his strength repeatedly against opponents he deems as worthy, and certainly he is a very strong and genius nen master with immense experience in combat and with a unique and flexible nen ability. Chrollo is also a unique and genius nen user who has various abilities in his disposal, and just like Hisoka all these years, he has defeated many strong nen masters, and he furthermore managed to hold his own against two extremely lethal nen users like Zeno and Silva. Chrollo's and Hisoka personalities are different, but they both don't spare anyone and have ended many people without blinking an eye. Chrollo, after dodging Hisoka for a very long time, he managed to gather his cards and finally accept the duel in the Heavens Arena, the perfect spot, the temple of fighting, and two floor masters going at it until one can no longer breathe. Hisoka was so happy that his dream was finally realized. Now he could fight the boss, a worthy opponent he wants to defeat. Chrollo also had grown annoyed by Hisoka's persistence to fight, so they both agreed to a battle to the death. Everything about this fight is legendary: the fighters, the location, the way the panels are drawn, the structure, the unique abilities, and genius battle IQ of both these nen masters. Hisoka and Chrollo both activate their aura, and Chrollo uses the ability of Sharnark, Black Voice, to attack Hisoka with the Judge. Hisoka realized that Chrollo left him waiting because he wanted to gather abilities. When Chrollo is repeatedly kicking Hisoka, Hisoka breaks down to the last detail Chrollo's strategy and his possible next moves, showing what next level genius battle IQ Hisoka has. But even more, Chrollo is able to detect Hisoka using bungee gum at max speed contract, and he avoids his attack pretty easy. The first chapter of the fight alone can outshine most battles of shonen manga. It truly shows what level of a writer and artist Togashi really is, and that nen is definitely the best power system so far in manga. Both Chrollo and Hisoka are very wary of each other and truly show what masters they are at their craft and nen in general. Both of them are extremely skilled with their hatsus, fast and powerful and very observant. After slaying the Judge, Hisoka instantly can tell something is wrong and immediately retreats using bungee gum. Right here, Chrollo reveals his trump card ability, Sun and Moon. This ability is simply amazing, and Chrollo has a ton of abilities. He chose the best abilities which would actually work on Hisoka's bungee gum. The explosions truly are a weapon against Hisoka. Coordinate that with the puppet's bookmark and switching appearances, and it's a deadly combination. The fight is so complex with so many abilities at hand. Chrollo truly is a master, and furthermore, now he doesn't even have to hold the book anymore, making him way more efficient in combat. Hisoka wants Chrollo to be insistent on winning, and Chrollo responds that he plans to win and that Hisoka should be wary and think carefully before he acts. I personally am more of a Hisoka fan. The Magician is a awesome villain, but we gotta give credit to Chrollo. Hisoka was way too confident. He showed up thinking that he is stronger, and Chrollo prepared for the fight up to the last detail, and there is nothing wrong with that. What matters is the result. It doesn't matter how you win. It was a fight to the death in an arena. Why should Chrollo fight Hisoka head on physically when he could do it in various other ways? It doesn't make any sense. Chrollo outsmarted Hisoka, and while Hisoka did perform outstandingly well, Chrollo was way more efficient, had a better strategy, and he was definitely the better nen user. Remember, I like Hisoka more than Chrollo, and I say this: Chrollo used 3 abilities in the beginning: Black Voice, Sun and Moon, and the bookmark, and he even praised Hisoka for being the only one to set a record for the number of abilities it has ever taken Chrollo to end someone. Truly shows how strong Hisoka is. If he is the only one want to survive these abilities without even getting damaged. Next, Chrollo states that all abilities have weaknesses, and he compensates that by being creative and creating the perfect conditions until victory is certain. And Hisoka goes on to say that his greatest pleasure is when opponents crumble before him and he looks down on them after their plans fail. And Hisoka says that pretty confidently, as he is certain of victory without actually being prepared at all, just believing in his own ability and strength. That was Hisoka's downfall. He knew at what caliber Chrollo was, and he just simply showed up for the fight extremely arrogantly. Chrollo actually was smarter than Hisoka. He actually strategized and planned way ahead. He knew what worked and what doesn't work against Hisoka. He further reveals the stamp and gallery fake ability, which were crucial during the fight. He creates a copy of the dead judge, uses order stamp, and orders the puppet to bring Hisoka. Chrollo continues on to explain to Hisoka that the puppet can be dispatched if the head is removed, and so Hisoka does that. Chrollo had prepared so many abilities which he used in perfect coordination just to end Hisoka. In chapter 2 of the fight, Chrollo introduced the final ability, Convert Hands, which allows him to change appearances, and with all these abilities at his disposal, Chrollo was certain of victory, and he explained to Hisoka about the ability that remained in his book even after the original user had passed away. After learning of the post-mortem Nen ability in Chrollo's book, we see Hisoka charge up his aura incredibly high, and Hisoka even states the fight is getting extremely troublesome, while Chrollo states that he is 100% certain he will win, and Hisoka still wants the fight. Of course, Hisoka wasn't going to give up this fight no matter how much Chrollo tried to overwhelm him psychologically by showcasing his unique abilities. Hisoka fights with a simple ability. He activates Bungee Gum and constantly tries to get to Chrollo while Chrollo hides in the shadows of the audience. This fight is so well thought, every chapter is a delight, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat. Chrollo really had the perfect strategy, hide and strike. Hisoka is extremely confident and he looks even physically stronger and even more buff. Chrollo creates puppets and commands them to attack Hisoka. Hisoka jumps high and Chrollo takes this opportunity to strike, but Hisoka has insane senses and he feels Chrollo behind him. While Hisoka tries to block the attack from the left, Chrollo modifies his angle of attack and kicks him straight in the neck. Hisoka is surprised of this feat and even more excited to fight. Chrollo used the puppets to keep Hisoka busy and only attacked when he had the perfect opportunity, landing clear and solid hits. We saw during the fight what a physical monster Hisoka is. He took deadly hits, coughing blood, and still outmaneuvered and planned way ahead of Chrollo, and even managed to land a hit on him with a puppet head using Bungee Gum. Hisoka fought while pushing, dodging, and being overwhelmed by puppets, and he still was being very wary of his surroundings and Chrollo. Hisoka managed to break down almost every single next possible move of Chrollo, and he performed outstandingly well. This fight wasn't just so beautifully coordinated with the unique combat style, it was a whole warfare, even psychologically. But we have to say Chrollo was way more impressive than Hisoka. He was hiding in the shadows. He managed to trick Hisoka by making a copy of himself, and he executed every single ability with perfect skill, incredibly fast and with high precision. Hisoka knew the next move of Chrollo would be decisive and powerful, so he powered up and he thought about 30 puppets would attack. But what's impressive, Chrollo did way more than that, and here we saw Hisoka's terrifying face and Nen power. He grabbed 5 puppets like it's nothing with Bungee Gum, and this shows in reality how strong Hisoka is, and he used the puppets as a shield, pinning them around, and he smashed hundreds of attacking puppets. Chrollo had versatile abilities and the skill to plan ahead and flawlessly alter the outcome and bring Hisoka into his traps. Hisoka had raw power, the flexible Bungee Gum, and deadly on-spot creativity, but ultimately Hisoka's hand was blown off. Chrollo had planted a full bomb way before while acting like he was injured by Hisoka's attack. Chrollo really is a genius. I'm not saying Hisoka is not a genius, since Hisoka was going with the flow and improvising on the spot, but Chrollo actually planned every single move carefully and swiftly activated every single move one after the other in link with each other flawlessly, and managed to outperform even Hisoka, who has such an ability that adapts to any situation. Hisoka didn't give up until the very end. He continued on fighting even though he knew he was in a serious situation. Chrollo is a strategic mastermind, but Hisoka is something else. His mental strength is simply outstanding. Hisoka kept running from the puppets, but ultimately Chrollo gave the orders to the puppets to self-destruct close to Hisoka. Hisoka managed to cover himself in aura and avoid lethal damage, but he lost his foot and he didn't even show any real emotion. He was like, okay. Ultimately, Chrollo made him lose balance by throwing at him people, and Hisoka couldn't escape to the ceiling by using his bungee jump. Hisoka, who has ended hundreds of people, finally thinks, am I going to die? Which is surprising, but he accepted his fate in a flash and the puppets all exploded near to him. This fight was simply outstanding. I have no words. Perfect. It was a complex fight between two complex characters with multiple twists, layers of strategy, and with the pinnacle of Nen mastery display at hand. Chrollo combined so many abilities and he managed to outmaneuver Hisoka, who had endless battle experience, but even Hisoka fought like a warrior till the very end, showing extreme endurance and physical prowess. We thought Hisoka was invincible and he couldn't lose, but this battle to the death with another strong predator proved everyone wrong. This battle is one of the greatest of all time, not just because of the cool powers, but the way it's executed, the layers of complexity and multiple calculated moves by the two participants of this deathmatch. It was a genius fight with an outcome most didn't predict. Hisoka died but came back to life thanks to his experiment with post-mortem Nen, and now he is even stronger. It was truly a legendary fight and Chrollo really predicted the outcome and he actually made it come to fruition. Truly a legendary fight.